Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Jones. I'm the Education Manager with the Oracle Applications and Technologies Users Group. Thank you for joining us for this session titled, How to Improve Your Chances of Being Selected to Speak at Ascend 2021. Before I get started, I would like to go over a couple of housekeeping items. You will be on mute throughout the presentation. If you'd like to ask a question, please type it in the question box in your control panel at any time. We're going to try to actually address questions as they come in so we can answer them kind of in the area that they fall into. All attendees can read submitted questions in the chat area as they are addressed. We are recording the session. The recording and the PowerPoint, a PDF of the PowerPoint, will be available tomorrow on the Ascend website. Next, I'd like to introduce you to your speakers for today. First, we have Janice Deloy. She is the Executive Director for OHUG. We also have Carrie Hollick, who is on the OHUG board and the program chair. And finally, myself, Mike Jones, I am the Education Manager for OETUG. Next, I will turn it over to Janice for a quick introduction from her.
Hi there, everybody. I've been with OHUG a long time, and for the last 2 years, Executive Director, just focusing full-time on OHUG. And I just want to take this opportunity to say that we're just delighted with our partnership with OETUG to put this great program on for everyone.
And next, Carrie, do you want to give a quick introduction?
Yes, thanks, Mike. Hi, I'm Carrie Hollick. I'm the program chair for representing OHUG for Ascend 2021. I've volunteered with OHUG for over 10 years and currently I'm on the OHUG board. I've also been on the OETUG board in the past, so loving this partnership and very excited for Ascend.
All right, thank you. Next, we're going to go over a quick agenda for today. It'll be pretty straightforward introductions, which is what we did earlier. We're going to talk about what Ascend is. Currently, Ascend is a hybrid event. It will be, in person and virtual. So that's what we're planning for this. We'll talk about what happens at Ascend. We'll talk about its location. I think I know with the current state of COVID, location's key for this event, so we're excited about it. Next, we'll go over how do you apply to speak, which should be pretty easy. Some tips and tricks, some things to avoid. And then we can basically go through a detailed selection of the selection process, how we go about selecting sessions, and then we'll go over the most important thing, the dates and deadlines. Right. These are your speakers for today. We already did a quick introduction, and next we will turn it over to Janice, who will let us know what Ascend is for 2021. Take it away, Janice.
Thank you so much. Ascend 2021 is going to be one of the premier educational events of the year for Oracle customers. We're putting it together with OHUG and OETUG to put on a full conference with a very broad range of topics and to cover all or most of the product lines for applications. OETUG, as you know, primarily handles eBusiness Suite, ERP Cloud, EPM and Hyperion, and SCM Cloud. And OHUG primarily handles all HCM topics, HCM Cloud, PeopleSoft, Taleo, that being Taleo Business Edition and Taleo Enterprise Edition, Taleo Learn, which used to be the learn.com, and eBusiness Suite, HCM. So there's a great program that you'll all hopefully be part of.
Thank you. Next, we'll be talking about what really happens at Ascend. Of course, the number one thing is Oracle education. Oh, excuse me. So users, of course, go in and share knowledge. I think they really talk about innovative solutions that they have. They basically, what we really want to do is have a lot of users there that share basically what they're currently working on. If you're doing an upgrade, if you're implementing, if you're doing a lift and shift, if you just found out about the Oracle, the ECC if you know a couple of things you want to highlight, your expertise and things you've been working on. And then, of course, speakers can bring an industry perspective. So if you are in a certain industry, let's say the automobile industry or the finance industry, you can kind of talk about the industry that you're in. Another favorite part of the Oracle education is going to be the Oracle sessions and roadmaps. I know those are some of the most popular sessions at the virtual events we've had, at conferences we've had in the past. I know from an e-business suite standpoint, we always have Cliff Godwin come in and do a full roadmap of e-business suite. And then we always try to get as many of the Oracle speakers in there to give full roadmaps of all the product lines that we had mentioned in the slide before. We like to really talk about the on-prem sessions as well as cloud. Now, I know a lot of people have attended Oracle Open World in the past, and you go there and they're really heavily focused on the cloud. One thing we're proud of is being a user group. We focus more on, we don't focus more on, but we do have those on-prem sessions, people that just don't want to move to the cloud, which is a really valid position. And then also kind of a newer thing that we've been doing is doing some professional development sessions. We think that helps your overall Oracle education. And the best parts of Ascend and these type of conferences are the networking opportunities. We have a great exhibitor, we'll have a great exhibitor showcase, so you can see some of the partners that a lot of our users use, and you can talk to them face to face. And then, of course, the welcome reception and closing parties are always fantastic and fun. It's just great to kind of get out and focus for a full week, or not a full week, but a few days on the Oracle education. So it's something you're not stuck at your desk, you're continuing to work on, and you don't have to be in calls and things. You can actually just come and learn about Oracle education.
And
next, we're going to talk about the resort that we're going to be at. Nope, did someone?
I was going to say, Mike, that's one of the best things about being there in person. If you can manage it, besides this gorgeous location that you're about to talk about, is being able to actually network in person with people and being able to focus fully on the conference.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, one of the problems I heard, because we have run some virtual events, running virtual events, is people seem to be working at the same time as trying to attend sessions. When you physically go to an event, you're really focused on learning exactly what you're there for. Next, we're going to talk about the Diplomat Resort. This is it's very close to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's in a section called Hollywood, Florida. And it is a beautiful, it's right on the beach. It'll be in August, so it will be hot, and people probably will be swimming. I know if I'm going, I'll definitely be in the water at least once. I know we have some great receptions planned here. If you look at the left-hand side, there's a big patio out here. I know we're gonna have a reception out there, so very close to the beach and the water. Love this location. It's for us, we've run Collaborate in the past, and Collaborate has generally been in Las Vegas. This is really a destination resort. So it's, come, bring your family, bring your wife, bring your kids. And it's, this is a actual fantastic location. So we're very excited about it, since we haven't really gone to a destination place, a destination location in a while.
I can't wait.
Next, Carrie's gonna talk about how do you apply to speak.
Thanks, Mike. So yeah, easy enough. Steps right here. So first step, go to the Ascend 2021 website. And under presenter info, there's a little bit of background there for you and some forms to fill out. I think one of the keys here, and we'll get into talking a little bit about tips and tricks for getting accepted and all of that. But a hook's important, right? So make sure that the title is something that describes what it is you'll be talking about and kind of intrigues people. Something that catches their eye a little bit always goes a long way. Detailed abstract. Well, when I say detailed, detailed enough so that we understand what the topic is, what it is that you're looking to get across, with some learning objectives. So again, something that gives the reviewers enough information that they understand that it's relevant and that folks attending are going to walk away with some good info. And then a little details on this timeline here. If you are accepted, your PowerPoint will not be due until July 2021. So you do need to tell us at a high level what it is you'll be discussing. But as far as, if you want to put in screenshots, getting into the details of the flow of your PowerPoint, you've got a lot of time there. Also, if you're accepted, you will get discounted registration to Ascend. So that is huge. That's worth a lot right there. And as mentioned earlier, there's going to be just chock-filled content here and tons of great presentations that you'll want to take advantage of. So this discounted registration is huge. Similarly, associates consultants will also receive a deeply discounted registration. Details there.
All right, thank you, Carrie. Next, you can go ahead with tips and tricks for success.
Here we go. All right. I love this. So, being a longtime presenter myself and kind of being terrified the first couple of times I presented, I've got a little bit of personal knowledge here. So starting out with your presentation, you do want to have something that is going to appeal to a number of people. If it's too niche, then it just might not be something that's appropriate for the conference. We want to make sure that it's helpful to a lot of folks. Having said that, a lot of things that people care about and want to attend are things that are maybe a little bit more emergent. So, if it's for example, if you're in the cloud product line, it might be something related to some new features that have been rolled out that not everyone has had a chance to take advantage of yet. Similarly, with a lot of the on-prem, there's still functionality being rolled out there. So something maybe that folks haven't had a chance to focus on yet. They know it's out there, and you can help them get excited about it. Submit early and often. It's like voting, right? Early and often. So get it out there, get your ideas in your head, get them out there to see what resonates with people as well. We're going to have a lot of folks reviewing this. And so if you do have a couple different ideas of things that you could do, it's helpful to us as reviewers, to kind of look at it and say, all right, these are the things that are going to be more popular with our attendees. Catchy or descriptive title. Let's make that an and, catchy and descriptive. So do it all, right? So people know at a glance what it is that you're trying to get across, and also something to catch their interest. And then the learning objectives, mentioned here, and we said on the previous slide, at least 3 learning objectives. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? Everybody wants to learn. 5 objectives, even better. So, if you can really get across what it is that people will achieve and get out of it, I'd also say that, it's often something where if there's a tidbit that someone could walk away and implement quickly and easily, that's always a plus as well. Some of these are going to be bigger than a bread box, but you may have something where you can slip something in that people can easily take back and, kind of justify attendance with their company, as well as just something that really does help move the needle for them. A good success story or a how-to story, we're all about hands-on here, so it's really nice when you can say, hey, I did do this. It's not hypothetical, right? I did it either at my company or for a client. And then you probably also have some advice on things that maybe could have gone better, which people like to hear that too. It's not all rainbows and roses, right? Sometimes this stuff is a little bit challenging, and so things that you have overcome are often good for people to hear. So that's lessons learned. I wish I'd known this. I wish I'd done this differently. That type of thing. No one's perfect. And if you're a vendor or a consultant, give your customer top billing. So always want to see customers out there, and they can really talk to what the value was for their company with a lot of authority. So give them top billing, make them primary presenter.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Carrie. I think that that second to last one is a big one. I know everyone on this that has implemented something or done something has that. I wish I had known this before I started this project. So everyone has to have that type of story, especially with Oracle. And another great thing about having a user conference is that you can actually talk about the bad experiences that you've had. If you do that at Open World, they may frown upon it a little bit, but that's the whole reason why we have a user group, because there are going to be those experiences where you ran into problems, and that's the best thing you can do. Is I wish I had known this before I started. All right, Carrie, you want to talk about things to avoid?
Yeah, so flip side here. We don't want anything salesy. So title, abstract, not salesy. We really do want to hear that that this is something good and bad. Kind of as Mike said, you know, nothing's going to go perfectly. So we do want to hear specifics on how to do things better based on the experience that you've been through. So good user stories, detailed tips and tricks are always useful and appreciated. Definitely get into the specifics on how to do something. So not high level, not salesy. Let's really get into the guts of it. Also, if you're an associate or exhibiting company, make sure to leave your company name out of the title, abstract, and objectives. We know who you're representing. It's attached to your user. We don't want to see that company name within the title, abstract, or objectives themselves. So definitely something to avoid. And then always best practice, run this thing through spell check, right? Spelling and grammar errors. Some of us are good at that by default and some of us are not. So that's okay. There's tools out there, but make sure that it's something, you know, we just don't want to see that. It makes it a little bit more difficult to review. Also, make sure you've picked the right track. You know, if you pick the wrong track, we may just have some difficulty getting it to the right place. It may end up not getting approved because the reviewers just aren't familiar with it. So do pay close attention to that when you're entering your session. And of course, we've got to say it, plagiarism, right? This should be your content.
Great, thank you, Carrie. Yeah, these seem really simple, but every single year people do this exact thing. We'll get a session in there where they mention their product and their service in the abstract like 15 times. You really want to talk about, have a really good case study, you know, something that you've done for a user with the user, have that user listed as the primary presenter. That's what we really want to see. We're not going to want to, people submit these things and it's all about sales, and those are almost instantly rejected by volunteers. And then, of course, the third bullet down, spelling and grammar, I still do see a lot of those in there. If you haven't taken the time to spell check your session, your submission, then it is a big negative for the volunteers. They figure, oh, how much time are they going to put into creating a great presentation? That's a good one to remember. Again, if you have any questions about the tracks or smart tracks, you'd always email us. Our emails are listed on the Call for Papers page in the Ascend website. The paper selection process. I'll go ahead and cover a little bit of this. OETUG and OHUG members will be able to vote on presentations. If you go to the Ascend website, we do have, under education, we do have a voting page. If you want to sign up to vote, you can go there. You do have to be members of the OETUG or OHUG, but you can sign up there to vote on sessions. You let us know what tracks you're interested in, and we can go ahead and assign you exactly what tracks you would like to vote on. Once the voting has taken place, I know we use the attendee historical data to ascertain how many sessions we have in a particular smart track. So if we get 600 sessions submitted, we'll look at how many tracks we have, how many tracks we've had sessions on in the past, and we'll kind of ascertain that to figure out exactly how many sessions per smart track we want. And then, of course, the OETUG and OHUG track leads will use that voting rating on proposals to help select sessions. That's a really important thing. It kind of weeds out really some of the bad sessions and some of the good sessions right away. So it makes it a little bit easier for the volunteers, the volunteer track leads to select sessions. So they can really just look at that and then kind of look at the middle sessions, which ones would be a good fit for the program based on kind of the sessions we already have in there. Next, we have, and I apologize, I have not been able to look at questions yet. I will get to those at the end. I know I promised you beforehand, but I kind of down closed the icon, and I'll open it up at the end and we can take a look at that. Next to the dates and deadlines, really quick and easy. Call for presentation closes March 5th. Remember, if you think you can't travel or don't know if you can travel, submit a session. I mean, it is going to be a hybrid event, so we could select you to speak virtually. There's no reason at all not to submit sessions, so submit as many sessions as you want. It's totally open to everybody. Then the week of April 19th, and that's the week of April 19th, accepted presenters will be notified. So we'll send out notifications whether you're accepted, whether you're declined, whether you're shortlisted. May 14th, this is kind of a new one that we added this year. We need speakers to register for the conference by this date, and that will kind of let us know if you can be virtual or in person. And that's really important for us to figure out exactly what you're going to be doing. And then also on July 8th, all presentation materials, including PowerPoints. If you have a PowerPoints with notes, those are due, and you can simply create a PDF and upload those to our speaker management website. All right, next we've got questions. Let me bring this up and see. Now, if anyone has any questions, please go ahead and type it in the question box in your control panel. Anything at all, anything about hybrid, anything about what we've done in the past, please go ahead and type it into the question box, your control panel. I'm currently not seeing any questions. Carrie, did you have anything else you may want to talk about, or Janice?
No, I think I'd just in closing, if we don't have any questions, you know, I do encourage folks, as Mike mentioned, submit those sessions early and do a lot of them. I do think that that's going to be super helpful to our reviewers, and I think our folks are really excited about this hybrid conference. I think we're going to have a lot of great attendance this year and opens up a lot of different possibilities for us. So I'm super excited about that, and also just with the partnership across our different user groups, I think there's going to be so much content and options for people to attend. Get out there early.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize that even if you think you might not be able to make it in person, submit as many as you can. And I'm hoping that we get lots of people who have never presented because they haven't been able to travel to an event. So this is your chance.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. And another key area with COVID going on is Open World has been canceled. ODTUG just canceled their event. So this will be one of the only in-person events happening in 2021, with numbers dropping, with you know, as vaccines get rolled out, we're hoping we're kind of in a really good spot that people would feel safe to travel, and because they haven't traveled in a year or so, would definitely be looking forward to going to a nice location as Florida is. We did get a couple of questions, so I'll post those in the chat area. Do we have to follow a standard template for the PowerPoint presentation? If so, where can I get the download? We will have a conference template that will be posted on the website. For right now, for the call for papers, all you really need, you don't have to have a full presentation. All you really need is a title, an abstract, and some objectives. Kind of select what area you have it in. So once you've submitted via the call for papers, we'll have a template PowerPoint up on the Ascend presenter page. So you can go there and look at that. Looks like we did get a couple of other questions in here, and I will put those in the chat area. Looking at those. Do we indicate while submitting sessions if you're attending in person or remotely? If you go through the call for papers process, we do ask you if if you think you'll be able to attend, or you think you are just virtual, so you'll go ahead and click it there. I think that's part of the process. When we select sessions and go through the selection process, we will be reaching out to speakers. We are leaning towards speakers that can actually travel, but it's not a requirement. And if your session is, gangbusters and our volunteers rate it really high, we will have a virtual. We will have a virtual session. So please go ahead and submit. This is a great question that just came in. If you register in person, can you change to virtual or the other way around? Absolutely. We'll have those options for you when you go to register. That'll be all the way in May. So we're hoping by that time you'll know exactly what you can do. But either way, we can register you virtual if you don't think you can travel, and then change it to in person in case you do travel, and then vice versa. We can do the same thing the other way around. All right, next question. Yeah, the questions are flying in now. Are the speaker registration fees due before the abstract is accepted or payable after the acceptance? It's definitely payable. The acceptance goes out April 19th. You don't need to register until May 14th. So that's when you pay your registration fees. And this is a question I was dealing with a little bit this morning. Will there be spots for SIG meetings? The SIG meetings that OATUG has done in the past, we used to have just straight SIG meetings. What we've done the last few years is SIGs have to submit sessions just like anyone else. So we have to kind of rate those sessions with everything else that comes in. So we really don't have SIG meeting slots. If you are part of a SIG and you submit a really good session, obviously you're going to get accepted. But yeah, we don't have specific slots for SIG meetings. You can put your session type as a SIG meeting, so we'll know exactly if you are a SIG, and our volunteers will be able to see that as well.
And just to add on to that, OHUG may be having separate community meetings on the Sunday before the conference. We're having a call right after this to decide what we're going to do there, and that'll be available for you to know. But do the same thing if you're an OHUG, if you're in a community which used to be called a SIG, let us know on your presentation submission as well.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, and Janice, I don't know if any of these other ones I covered you may want to talk about. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can put some links into the area. I still have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think you did a great job answering those, Mike. I'm going to have to drop off for for our community leaders call. So thank you.
Thanks, Janice.
This next question is, to what email address should we send the presentation? It's not an email address. It's actually the Ascend website. I'll put that link in the chat box right now, so you can have a direct link to that information. Everything is done via our speaker portal. So our call for papers, everything is done via that speaker portal, which makes it really easy. So uploading, doing anything inside, submitting anything is all done on that link that's listed there. So you won't need to email anything. Everything's done within the program. That way you can upload large files to it as well. This is another great question that just came in. Are we supposed to submit specifically to one group, OHUG or OATUG, or both? It depends on the track. If whatever track you're submitting for is the group that's going to really handle that session. So if you apply to any OHUG tracks that we had mentioned earlier, the tracks are also listed on the education page for the conference. That's where the session will specifically go to. So if it's an OHUG track, you'll be with OHUG. If it's an OETUG track, it'll be with us. So it depends on the track. So that means you can do both. So if you submit one that's got an HCM submission for, or an EBS submission, that's who the group will go to. So specifically, you go to both.
Yep, I would add to that. So as Mike indicated, it's the same portal, it's the same platform, the same front end. And to expand a bit on, that you could submit that in 2 different tracks, especially if you could get into details of, for example, a case study of, say, an HR or a payroll story related to an integration or an upgrade, for example, as well as perhaps have a financial or an accounts payable story related to that same concept. And so that would be a great example of 2 submissions that you could do to 2 different tracks.
Yep, perfect, thank you. We did get this question here. I'm going to post it. With the reduced number of possible topic selections per partner company, I think the excitement is submitting in topics is less. Because we are in COVID, we are cutting down the number of sessions that we normally do. So with that, we also had to reduce the number of sessions for partner company. If you're a user company or a exhibiting partner company, you could have up to 3 sessions selected. If you're not exhibiting or you're not a member, you can only have 1 selected per company.
Yeah, and definitely partner with your customers on that where you can.
Yeah, if you submit via your customer and you get your user customer as the primary presenter, it doesn't count against you. It'll go against the company that you submitted for. Next is how might capacity limits, social distancing, mask mandates, and other pandemic measures impact or change how the live event works? This is another great question. We don't have answers currently. We're going to basically run the conference with those limits in at the time of the limits. So we will, as an education manager, I'm already planning on having really cutting down the number of seats that are in each room. We do have really great space at this resort. It's got some really big rooms, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. So we'll be able to space the seats 6 across. I would imagine, I don't know what the exact protocols are, but I would imagine we are going to have masks and we'll be 6 feet apart. Again, a reason why with receptions and things being outside, those restrictions are going to be a lot less. And of course, we may even have some sessions outside, depending on what we can do. I'm always looking for fun, exciting session ideas. I know in San Antonio, we did a few sessions on riverboats. At this resort, I wouldn't mind doing some sessions out on the patio or even on the beach. So those are kind of, I'm always kind of thinking about that and have those in the back of my mind, especially if you find the right session. And of course, associates could have, nice little, there's cabanas, bungalows. There's a lot of things you can do with receptions if you want to meet people or anything like that. The hotel has a lot of those capabilities. I'm not seeing any other questions. We've got them all covered. Is anyone else? If anyone else has any questions, we're still here for you. Yep. Again, like I mentioned earlier, we are going to be the only in-person event. So if you can travel, please submit a session. Or if you can't. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other questions, so we'll go ahead and conclude the webinar. I'm going to thank everyone for putting up with me for a few minutes. I know Carrie did a fantastic job. Should have had her run the entire deck. So thank you, Carrie, for doing that.
Thank you, Mike. This was great. Great questions too. Good audience.
All right, and this will conclude the webinar. Thanks, everyone.